Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to be going live this evening. We're going to be talking with Dee Norman, author of The Golden Grimoire, which is an amazing magical book that just came out. Okay, and Jinx is in the room. And Ruby's barking, of course. Because why can we have a normal night? Hold on, Dee, I'm going to grab you. Why can we have a normal a normal night with the okay, now Jinx is stuck in the room. Let's see if that worked. D, hold on. Up. Yay, hi.
Hi,
How are
doing
you?
well. I just got to cram my phone into its tripod here for a sec.
Well, you're doing better than me because I sit at my vanity and just use a bunch of tarot decks to prop it up. So,
Well, Tower is an excellent tool for many, many things,
yes, we could use
including.
it in the book. We could use it to prop up our cell phones. It's fine.
There we go. I think that's good enough.
Yay, awesome. So, hello.
Oh.
So, my name is Dina. I'm one of the Oh, this is what we're doing now. We're going to just. They have not barked for the past hour and a half to 2 hours. But of course, now we're just going to get all sorts of talking out of the two dogs. That's
Well,
fine.
I have two, so they can talk back and
That's
forth because I'm like paranoid that they're going to start up too.
it is what it is. We're just gonna roll with it, right? So anyway, my name is Dina Rosenberg. I'm one of the co-owners of Amityville Apothecary. And you guys that are watching from the Amityville Apothecary side, I'm here with Dee, who is the author of the newly released The Golden Grimoire, plus also the Burn a Black Candle book, which we have sent out into the world. I don't even want to tell you how many of them we've sent out. So many.
Yay.
People love people love that book. And we're going to be talking about the newly released Golden Grimoire, which, by the way, is amazing. I just got to spend a lot of time with it today, and I am in love with this book.
Thank you so much. That's so kind.
It's literally, you guys, it's such, oh, not to no pun, like pun intended but not intended, like a wealth of information. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. Selling a lot of magical books. Obviously, prosperity and abundance magic is such a big topic. We always talk about the buckets of magical work, and we wealth, prosperity, love, protection, and intuition. That's like sort of like our four silos, right? And so the number one thing that really people want is money, because we all need it.
Yep. Got to keep
I,
body and soul together.
you do. So, there's a lot of books, and some of them are really, really great. Yours is one of them. And some of them are like right before. But this, this is wonderful. So what I want to know is I read a little bit about, like, the story of your upbringing and your Italian American heritage. We have a lot in common there. But tell me about, like, what inspired you to dig in and create the Golden Grimoire. Like, what did you think was lacking out there that you saw that you're like, you know what? Let's, like, put the D Norman spin on this.
So I had the utmost good luck and pleasure to get to write my first book about something that meant something really a lot to me. It was really important to me, which was my family's magical practices. And so for my second book, I was trying to find something. I didn't think I'd find anything that would be as important or as significant to me personally, but I wanted to find something that personally has impacted me a lot in my life, but that would also be helpful to other people. And the very first thing that sprang to mind was wealth magic, money magic, financial magic. Because, as I say in the book, my parents freaked out about two things when I was growing up: the health of me and my sibling, and money, and where we were going to get the money to support the family. My family's practices are very practical and much centered around running the household. And of course, that is a big part of running your household. And then I had this hurdle to get over once I left kind of the safe space of my family's practices, and I entered the esoteric scene when I was a youngster, which was more years ago than I care to count. Um, I had lots of people really saying to me, like, no, 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 we don't work for money. We don't work for financial
Yeah.
gain. Oh, you read tarot cards. You can't charge for that because you'll lose your gifts and like all this enormous stuff. And I'm like, that has not been my experience. you know,
Right.
throughout my so those two things really came together and made me decide that this would be the topic that I would like to approach and really do a deep dive on, not only how to do it but why it works and what you can do to increase your chances of it working for you in a very significant way. And so that's kind of what I focus the book around.
It's it's actually so wonderful because it's not just it's not just a book of spells, but there are so many spells in the book. And it's exactly what you say it is. It really is a grimoire. It has, you guys, has all the information in here, but like around wealth and abundance and money. So I was so impressed with, for example, you have your candle and your color correspondences, you have your planetary correspondences, but like the most impressive section is the tarot section.
That's my favorite part.
You guys, the tarot section is literally every single card from like from the perspective of wealth and abundance. I was
So
like,
tarot was my gateway drug to magic, really, because I didn't realize what my family was doing was magic when I was
right.
younger. I was given my first tarot deck when I was 11 by my mother and grandmother. I got
So
it
cool.
I got it in my shoe on St. Nicholas night. So St. Nicholas came and brought me my first tarot deck. Wrap your mind around
That's
that.
awesome.
And it really opened me up to all the concepts that have been associated with tarot. By the time I was 15, 16 years old, I wanted to be a ceremonial magician because of all the Kabbalistic
Yeah.
correspondences associated with tarot. And of all the things that I have written, I had yet to really write anything in depth on tarot, and thought, well, how can I work that in? And I know when people are starting out with tarot, sometimes each card has such broad symbolic significance. How do you hone it in and make it
Yeah.
apply to the situation you're reading about? And I'm like, that's it. I'm going to write a reading about money matters tarot guide. And that was one of the very first things that I wrote in its entirety, because I wanted to make it kind of condense all of my experience with reading with the cards for very practical matters, so that you can go card by card and suss out what's going on in your financial situation. Because if you don't know where you are, you can't really plan on getting anywhere specific.
Yeah. Amazing. Like, and you guys, upright and reversed, by the way. Like, uh, I was like, worth the price of admission alone. Like, you, that could have been the whole book. I was like, this is amazing. And oh, that just scared me. My son just walked by and scared. He's almost 16 and a full man. So when he walks around, like the whole house shakes. Which jumped out of my skin there. Like really unbelievable. Like just, you know, so many times, like you said, if you get, a Rider Waite or a Smith Waite deck, if you start there and you get the little tiny book that's in there, and then you're trying to do a money reading or a wealth reading or an abundance reading or whatever, you're like, I don't know what this means. Like, how do I apply it? It's like this literally takes the guesswork out of it. So that's what's like so wonderful about the book. Now, your sort of entryway was the tarot cards. My entryway to the magical arts is crystals.
Ooh, love
Your crystal
crystals.
section, your crystal section is great.
What a relief to hear.
Because I always am like, well, what are they going to say? What are we going to see in here? Great crystal section. And I was so impressed with the use of amber.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people leave amber out, and I was like spot on amber, because like really, if you think about amber's petrified sun,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of solar energy.
like so much solar energy, and like you need that solar energy in prosperity work. I was like, oh, this is great. So good. Really, really loved it. How would you like, so let's tell people, like, they don't have the book yet, maybe they do, and just so you know, you can get it on our website. We do have them signed, and we put all the ones that do you like made these sigils. You're crazy, by the way, because we sent you made so many. I was like we have 3 cases of your book, and thank goodness I put them to the side. I'm like, do not touch these until we get these book plates. like completely, like literally so amazing. So we do have a couple left in the site that have the book plate in them. But let's talk about like what are some of your we know we just heard about the tarot section, but like what are your like favorite practices where you're like, this is like one of my favorite things. Like this is it. Like if they just
Oh, oh, that is a good question. So, um, I really particularly like the there's some practices in there for turning your luck because a lot of people, particularly when you're starting out with money magic, you get a lot of pushback from the universe sometimes when you're working with financial magic, and it seems like suddenly you're beset with one thing after the other, and you are in a situation where you feel like you're just being bombarded with not necessarily like major issues, but just a bunch of minor little derailments or upsets.
Mhm.
Those tend to build up and they can really discourage you while you're trying to work on a spiritual practice and build a habit of doing money magic. So there's a couple ways in there that are very, very simple to turn your luck. And everything is as simple as spinning counterclockwise intentionally while focusing on banishing that, to cleansing your wallet with
I
salt, which is
loved
one of my
that
all-time
one.
favorite
I
things.
love that one. I'm gonna have to do that. And of note, take everything out of your wallet. Like, how many times do we stuff stupid shit in our wallets? Old receipts, bullshit. Excuse my cursing. Like, we don't pay attention to it. Like, even in our purses where we keep our wallet, that's another thing where we have a lot of clutter and receipts and nonsense.
Yes, yes, yes. And that is, to me, that is so important. And we carry around, sometimes you carry around a business card of that person you met that you don't particularly care for, and every time you look at the business card it makes you feel bad. You
Yeah.
don't need those associations with your wallet. And related to that, one thing that I really like to do is when I talk about building a wealth altar. And of course, when you build an altar, most of the time you have to clear space somewhere to do it, whether it's on an existing altar, whether it's on a bookshelf or something. And I really enjoy the practice of using the clearing of your altar space to start contributing to your wealth magic right away. So
Mm.
if you're going to move old bills and receipts, you say to yourself as you're removing them from that space, well, these are my debts, these are my financial obligations. I'm going to clear them and cleanse them from this space so that my wealth can flow. And you do that with each thing that you're removing. If you have I leave my jewelry everywhere. So if you're going to move some jewelry, you can say, this is my wealth. I'm going to carefully treasure it. I'm going to go put it where it belongs in a safe space in my jewelry box. And so you address each item that you're clearing away for wealth magic to make room for your altar, but you do it in a very thoughtful, intentional way that already begins, that changes your mindset, and it already starts to strengthen that association with wealth. And that's closely tied with that clearing out your wallet, or as you said, clearing
Hmm.
out your purse.
Yeah, I think, a lot of times we look to magic as being something that has to be super complicated, but it's just so obvious, but we forget about it because we're always in like the hustle and bustle of our day and we're just like stuffing stuff in there. We don't like think about what we're doing. And it's so funny. So I was reading about some of the magic around, the dollar bills with the sevens on them. You totally reminded me of that. I'm like, oh, the sevens on the bills. I totally forgot about that one. And then the $2 bills.
Yes, thank you, Dad. Thanks, Dad, for explaining the history of $2 bills to me when I was a child,
So
at
I
least
didn't
slightly.
know about that, but I have $2 bills. I do think I have one in my wallet. Now I'm like, oh no. So now I'm going to cleanse it.
You cleanse it and then turn it into a chart
Yes,
to draw your pulse
it's
to, because
fine.
they're so unique and they're so odd. And they really do stand out when people see them, and they've had all these crazy
Hmm.
associations in the past of vote buying and
Yeah,
prostitution and a bunch of
crazy.
different things. But they've also are known, at least in the South, for being a component in a lot of folk magical
Hmm.
practices. And because of that, people really don't want to touch them when they see them because they don't know what's on that bill and what's been done to that bill. So, if you have one that's been kicking around the world, you might want to cleanse it, but then put it to work for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I think I have a couple hanging around in here, so I'm gonna grab that. And even like the idea of, you know, like charming different types of money. So, the three pennies or the nickel, like what, sewing a nickel in your clothes or putting in, well,
The thing I talk
yes.
about is going to a place and burying a nickel
Okay.
and doing it with the intention of it drawing wealth to you.
I love that.
And it works best if you do it in a place you're not going to return. So don't bury it in your favorite place if you possibly can.
I think
Um,
it could be fun to sort of do that, like as part of your practice when you go to somewhere on vacation that you might not go back to. I would probably wouldn't be the right person to do that because I have a habit of going to the same place over and over again, but that's okay. Get stuck on a place. It's okay. Um, so here's a question that I was thinking about. Right now we're like in a little bit of a crazy time, right? Like people are
yes.
nervous about the economy. They're worried about like forces outside of our control, which by the way, like chances are, unless like you work for a major bank, they're always sort of outside of your control in the macro, right? But news cycles and news and things being what they are, what do you think we can do to sort of steady ourselves or mitigate some of like the greater energy around the worry around money right now? Because even if I'm sort of like one of those like witches where like if enough people believe it, then it's so, even if it isn't happening.
Yes. So I would say the thing that always comes to mind when I am in a personal magical or financial crisis and I want to do magical spiritual work to help resolve it, the very first thing that calls to mind is calling my ancestors and
Mm,
speaking to my ancestors because they are always on your side. Now, you might say, I don't know who my ancestors are. That's fine. You have ancestors. If you're adopted, it's the people that raised the people who adopted you. If you don't know their names, that's fine too. If there is someone in your family who's passed on that's well known for, pulling themselves up by the bootstraps and stuff, but all of them are invested in seeing your lineage progress and do better than they did. It's that old thing. I want to see my kid do better than what I did.
yeah.
And so, I do a lot of work speaking with my grandfather who was like the financial wizard in my family. He was the guy that you know uh dropped out of school in the sixth grade and ended up being very financially well off through it's the immigrant's dream through hard work and working his way up through a company and all that. And speaking to the ancestors or speaking to other spiritual allies that you're comfortable working with, if you're not working with your ancestors, there you can get not only material, financial, fiscal help that way, but you can also get a lot of comfort that way. And sometimes it's our anxieties, which they just make everything worse. So if you can engage in spiritual practices that help soothe those anxieties, even if it's as simple as repeating to yourself over and over again, no matter what's going to happen, I'm okay right now.
Yeah.
No matter what's going to happen, I'm okay right now. Look how great I am. I'm sitting here, I'm comfortable. I have my favorite drink, or my dog's in my lap, and I'm
Yeah.
comfortable and I'm happy. So, engaging in practices that soothe your anxiety as much as possible, and I say this as a very anxious person, and engaging with spiritual allies who are going to help you, uh, remain stable in difficult times. I think are the two easiest and best ways that you can kind of start turning that energy around for yourself. And then the other thing is being generous with other people, because if you're helping or comforting or commiserating with other people, you're taking yourself outside yourself and you're engaging
Mhm.
with other people's issues. That removes some of the focus on yourself and starts generating that positive energy, that good vibe that's going to surround you and help protect you from some of the difficulties that may be otherwise coming your way. So, being gratitude and also being generous, the two G's,
Yes.
can really help.
I love that. Yeah, I think a really that sounds really lovely, especially like we can tend to, if we're anxious, sort of ruminate and get in our own head and get in that loop. So shifting perspective is definitely a great idea.
And one thing that I would also like to say is there's a couple people in real life that I know and online that I know that have said things to me recently along the lines of, I don't even want to pick up my tarot deck because I don't want to even know what's going to happen. And I'm like, okay, we have to have a, if not a come to Jesus, a come to D meeting right now. Because, like, the tarot is there to guide you so that you can
Mm,
avoid or mitigate that negativity. So, if you're worried about something bad happening, yes, pull out your cards, pull out your oracle deck, or whatever method of divination you have. Go and look, get advanced warning, and then you can start doing things to completely avoid or reduce the impact of those things if you see something coming your way that you don't like.
yeah, absolutely. It's a tool. They're a tool. And I think, listen, I get like that sometimes too. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a huge, like, I don't go to my tarot cards that often because I'm a Cap rising and I'm like, I have it all under control. I got it under control. But you want to know what? Like, it's definitely a wonderful tool, and we have them and we should use them as a way to just get a taste of the energy that's around us so we can adjust, like preparing ourselves for the spiritual weather, just like we prepare ourselves for the astrological weather. And let me tell you something, the astrological weather the past couple of weeks has been friggin' doozy. My gosh, it's been wild. It's been wild, let me tell you. But you know, we know about it, and when it rains you take an umbrella.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Or you go a different route.
exactly. That's for sure. I actually, there was something else. Oh, I loved what you wrote about with the found money and having a place for found money on your wealth altar.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
It
Um,
reminded me of, so I just want to tell you the story because you're going to get a kick out of this because you're Italian American, I'm Italian American. My great grandmother was, I'm not going to call her cheap because that's not nice, but she was super frugal. For the longest time, we didn't know what orange juice was supposed to taste like because it was the concentrated kind and she put a lot of water in it.
mm,
But she was a
mm,
child of the Depression. We all didn't know. Like, still to this day, I drink like the most diluted form of iced tea because it was always stretched, right? So, anyway, my great grandma's favorite thing to do was the day after Halloween, we would go walking and looking for the pennies because
oh,
people would give kids pennies and she'd be like, let's go take a walk and find the pennies because it falls out of the bag. And that was like an activity that we did, that we would walk around and just look and pick up pennies.
that is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Go, grandma.
What
It
do you do?
it reminds me. So my dad, he grew up with a single mom and five brothers and
Oh,
sisters.
wow. Yeah.
And he was born in 1940. And so he was like he kind of grew up on the streets.
Yeah.
And as one of my fondest memories as a child, which not until well into my adulthood did I go, that's kind of strange. If my mom was busy, and we grew up, sometimes we were strapped for cash when I was growing up, he would take me to this big fountain in downtown Louisville where I grew up, and we would pick up the silver coins out of the fountain. It was a waiting fountain, but people would also throw coins into it until we had enough silver coins to go buy a couple ice cream cones. And like that was his like Saturday outing with me.
I mean, that's okay.
And it's like a frugal dad. He grew up without like a lot of luxuries growing up as a kid, and he grew up in downtown Louisville, and that's what he would do with his brothers and sisters because they didn't have the cash to go get treats, so they go grab a quarter or something out of the fountain and go buy a treat for his brothers and sisters. So
But
that is
you
what
want
we
to
used
know
to do.
what? In a way, that's still like the magical intent of the people that put the coin in the fountain because it was like they were blessing it forward whether they knew it or not. So that's okay.
Well, and that was the foundation. There's a whole section in the book about doing blessing your money so that it comes back to you, but also so that it brings blessings to other people. And it's that memory about going to the fountain with my dad
Oh,
that it kind of inspired that for me the first time that I did it. And the first time that I did it, oddly enough, it's a very large bag of pennies. And I would drop the pennies as I was walking around my neighborhood in the hopes that the blessed pennies would be picked up by people who needed the extra luck, blessings, good fortune that the pennies represented, and that they would carry that into the world with them. So I would go strew pennies around. And one time I was walking in front of a mom and a little boy, and the little boy kept going, "I keep finding these pennies." He was so excited. And I was like, "Grab those pennies, kids."
Oh, I love that. So for somebody that just popped on and said, "What's going on? I'm confused." I am live with Dean Norman, author of The Golden Grimoire, and we're talking about newly released book. We have them on our website shop, Amityville Apothecary, and we have these amazing signed book plates in them with a prosperity sigil in there. So that's what we're talking about. And if anybody has any questions for Dee about prosperity magic or wealth or any questions about correspondences, drop them and we'll address them as we go. Yeah, you know what, it's so funny because my family, I have Italian on both sides. My mom is half Italian and my dad is half Italian. And my dad's side and my mom's side too, but they like owned their own businesses. And so, you know, my dad's side of the family, they actually had a catering hall for a while. And then he was a jeweler too. I don't know
Oh,
how that
wow.
happened, but like at some point my grandfather left the catering business and became a jeweler. Very interesting. Their their feelings around wealth and around like building wealth and making your own luck and like making your own way in the world. And my dad would always say like, you know, I'm not betting on anybody else. I'm going to bet on myself because I know I can make my way in the world. And like clearly that's resonated with me because my way with being employed by other people is way, you know. I'm like, I'm gonna I'm gonna take my luck on my own. And you know, Danielle and I started Amityville Apothecary 6.5 years ago. But it's just really interesting how like you have these ancestors, like you said, talking to your ancestors, you have these ancestors and you're like, wait a second, like I'm more like these people than I thought I was. And then you have your stories with like the pennies and your grandfather and the fountain. Like it's so funny how we do these magical practices without even realizing that we're doing them, and we don't realize that it's magical because it's something that we're so comfortable with, like it's so second nature.
I write about that in
Mm-hmm.
Bird of Black Candle, actually. And I tell people that if you're going to try to explore your family's practices, when you speak to your family members, the absolute worst thing you can do is be like, "So, what magic do we do in our family?" You ask questions about, well, what did great Aunt Mary do when she was afraid that she wasn't going to be able to make rent? Or
Mm-hmm.
what did great grandma or great grandpa do when the weather got real bad and it was storming? And sometimes you find cool magical things. Other times you find out things like my great grandmother Mary used to lock my grandmother in the closet with the rest of her children and pray the rosary till the storms had passed because she was terrified of storms. And consequently, my grandma was terrified of storms.
Oh Lord.
Go great grandma Mary. But I it's just, you have to, fish don't see the water that they swim in. What we do isn't magic, it's just what we do.
Yes.
And magic is kind of makes things sound very exotic. And other when you're exploring your family for stuff like that, you've got to figure out ways to ask questions that aren't going to completely shut people down.
Right. And also it's again for them it wasn't magic. It was
Right.
just like you said, the things that we do. That's how you refer to it. It's just the things that we do. My great grandma, she would always make like you're a little kid and you're like you get all mosquito bites, you're scratching at it and you're making them bleed or whatever. And she would be like, you make the sign of the cross in it and it'll make it stop itching.
Yes, that's right too.
Right? I'd be like, ow, grandma, goddamn.
That
Like she
hurts.
scratched so hard.
She had these nails too, my grandmother, super long and super strong. I wish I could have nails that strong. I don't know why she did.
Right? So crazy. Or like We would do, I don't know if you did, where in Italy is your family from?
So the Benevento and Napoli area of southern Italy, of course, is where we're from. We were the second Great Migration over.
Okay. Um, so same, my family's mostly like around that Naples area as well. So hold on a second. What's everyone's take on picking up a coin from the ground if it's tails? Was it just my crazy Greek family superstition to not pick it up if it's tails?
I have a funny story about that
Okay, I'd love to
actually.
hear that.
Because my family, we always picked it up. We always picked it up. And then when I was in my 20s, I was out with my mother and my grandmother, and there was like a penny on the ground, and it was up tails, and my grandmother Eagle Eye pointed it out and said, "There's a penny." And I looked and I said, "I can't pick it up, it's tails," because one of my friends had told me that. And my grandmother pushed me out of the way. She elbowed me out of the way. She's like, "Are you crazy? You don't leave money on the ground." So I think, but my serious answer to that, it depends greatly on your personal symbolism and belief. To my grandma, that wasn't even a concept, and so it didn't bother her at all.
Mm,
But if it is something that is built into your worldview, then by all means, leave the tail up coins on the ground. Don't let them haunt you because they can if you pick
yeah.
them up anyway. You have to go with what your worldview is and your own personal beliefs. And that symbolism is very specific to each individual person.
Yeah, my great grandma was picking up money. It didn't matter what side of it was. She was picking up that damn money. But I think that's so funny. I love that though, and I've turned it to heads for the next person I flock. Oh, Queen Christine, I
I
love that.
love that. Oh, that's awesome. I had a
I've had
penny
a
in my
penny in
boiler
my
room.
boiler room that's been on tails up for years now, and I haven't touched it. I love that. So my husband always has change in his pockets, and I don't know why. If I didn't pick up money on the tails, I'd be in trouble because there would be money all over my bedroom carpet. There's always like literally like right now in between like the threshold to my bedroom, there's a quarter. I've just like been too lazy to bend down. There's always money, always. We actually have a Ganesha in the shop, and people started stuffing money into him. And it just like happened so organically that now we have this big bowl in front of him and there's all this money. And then what we do is we just like let all that money collect and then we take the money and we donate it
That's
someplace.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love
So,
when stuff like that springs up
yeah,
organically.
it
It
wasn't
it's
like
so
even a
meaningful.
thing. It just started happening. And so like now we just like, all right, that's so like it's again taking that energy, like even Christine said about changing it from tails to heads for the next person. We're doing something where the people are putting that money and asking for a blessing and asking for prosperity. And then we're taking that energy of prosperity and trying to give that to others to like complete that circuit,
Yes.
which I
Yes.
think is so important to like because energy like money has to keep moving.
Yes. Yes, it does. And it, and there's all kinds of things that you can do. Um, just to, again, a lot of it is having, just being aware, and also adapting older practices to our modern world, because like
Hmm.
I started writing a section about blessing your money, and I'm like, I don't have any money to bless because I have all credit cards
Right.
and debit cards and I'm always using plastic. And so I'm like, well, how can I go about it? What can I do to shift it? And I was like, oh, I can take my credit card receipts, or I can take my credit card bill if you don't have negative associations associated with your bill, and you can bless that, use that as your representation of money, or you can draw a representation of money and you can use that to bless it, and then send that energy out to bless you when it comes back, but also to bless all the people that interact with it, even if they're interacting with it digitally.
Yeah.
Because with magic you can't really get hung up in the form factor too much. You just kind of do what works.
Yeah, I even liked your idea of like for people that have businesses about blessing your cash box or your register. I'm like, oh, we're definitely gonna get into that. Yesterday, Yesterday was Monday. Yeah. Yesterday, for whatever reason, like I came in real hot and I don't even know why. And I was like, let's clean the front door and the back door. And we like blessed it with the, we have like money wash, money spray, money protection spray. We were, I don't know if Bessie's Conjure Kitchen's still on, but they're based in Orlando, Florida, and they make a lot of that stuff for us. And I was just spraying their stuff all over the place, clean the front door, clean the back door. Vinny and Alex were outside. They swept the sidewalk. They put runes out there. Oh my gosh, we were just sometimes like you just have to remember you gotta clean it up and change the energy a little bit.
Yeah, just like elevate things just a little bit and kind of refresh how you feel. It's really odd. Was there something astrological going on yesterday? Because I cleaned my entire office yesterday and decluttered.
Yeah, maybe. Because
Hmm.
I don't know, and it's so funny. I don't know if you're aware of Dr. Michael Lennox. We love him, and every day he does Red Robe Astrology, both here on Instagram and on TikTok, and he'll give you like the astrological weather report. And I also you could pay to get an email where it's like much more like multiple paragraphs. And I always tease him because I'm like, sometimes I'll be going through my day and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Let me read the Lennox and see what's going on, you know. So I should go back to yesterday's and I'll let you know what was happening
Well, I'd
because
be
it must
very
have been something.
curious because I was like, did I woke up and I work from home and I'm like, I am determined I'm going to work on X, Y, and Z. And I spent all morning cleaning, clearing, and decluttering and burning incense and cleansing incense and stuff like that. So maybe
But
there was
yesterday
something
was
going
the
on.
new moon in Taurus, right? Was that yesterday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Or
yeah,
is it
well,
yesterday?
that's a
It was the day before that. I don't know. It was
it was definitely
sort of pretty.
Taurus yesterday. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it was still the new moon or not.
So it could be. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with time the past couple of days. I feel like it's been like slippery. I don't know if anybody else is having that experience because sometimes, time does that accordion shit, or maybe it's just
Yet that was yesterday for me too, where
okay.
everything the day seemed about 12 hours long instead of 24 yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's like the accordion. It extends really fast and it stretches out, and you're like, oh my god, I just like lived like 3 days in an hour. But it's okay. We just roll with it. That's what we do. Um, so talk to me about I see you have your blessed mother back there and you got some saints. You do talk about some of the saints in your book. You talk about working with other deities. Who do you got back
I got
there?
all kinds of people back there.
Do you have
I'm
Expedite back
of
there?
course
Okay.
I have Expedite. He's my man.
Okay.
Expedite. I have the Three Kings.
Okay.
I have Fortuna. I have More Blessed Mother. I have Saint Clair.
Oh
Um, I have
my god,
Buddha.
I was just looking at St. Clair this morning. I was like, I need to buy a St. Clair, but I don't want to. I have a thing where I like to get antiques. All right, sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
She is. I have her. She is printed off the internet. Now, my blessed mother is an antique that we found in a local antique store that I fell in love with, and we just had to lug to the car. She's massive.
It's gorgeous.
She is framed and printed off the internet because I had a friend of mine who is very deeply psychic named Gwen once tell me like you need a St. Clair just out of the blue, and I was like,
Okay.
okay, I have a St. Clair. So she sits in front of my black scrying mirror, and
Mm.
she kind of watches over my black scrying mirror. And who else do I have? That's pretty much who I have on that altar. There's another altar. I don't know if you can see all of it. As my partner Brent says, every flat surface in our house becomes an altar. He's a practitioner too. And so things just start to accumulate and they become altars. So,
That's sort
and,
of the
and
way
we'll
it works,
say,
right?
we'll buy a new piece of furniture and he'll be like, this cannot become an altar. And 6 months later, there's a statue, there's some dried flowers. And my
Oh
daughter
my goodness.
Selena starts leaving things she makes on it, and suddenly it's an altar.
Oh, listen, that's how it goes. What can I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I also so I really like also the meditation about protecting the things in your home. So like
Mm,
that sort of
yes.
visualization. You want to talk about that because I feel like that's something that like we all can do very easily. You don't need really anything special, and I was like really intrigued by that.
Well, I've had the experience, a little background. I've had the experience sometimes where I start doing prosperity magic and things start going really well, and then all of a sudden things go to hell. And I'm a very strong believer in the evil eye,
Mhm.
and that evil eye can come from people, and it can come from non-physical entities, and it can come from a lot of different things. And I think I saw you guys were talking to Mako Antonio.
And
And
yes, we love Antonio, and Antonio is going to be teaching at our upcoming Alchemy Academy on June 21st.
oh wow, that's awesome.
So if you
Yeah,
feel like
because
coming to New York, come hang out with us. He's amazing. We
I'm
just had
so
dinner with him
bad.
last week.
When is that?
It's so June 21st, here in Amityville. We are doing our Alchemy Academy, and that's for everybody. We'll just talk about it. It's a full immersive day. We do it twice a year. And what we do is we have it in the Masonic Temple, and it's about 100 people, and it's a full day of learning. We do lunch, we do snacks, we have a little bookstore, and we're having Antonio Pagliarulo. He's actually teaching, he wrote The Evil Eye, but he is teaching on saint magic. And he has a book forthcoming with Wiser. And then
Awesome.
we have Barbara Moore coming she's Llewellyn, that she's going to be teaching on tarot. We have Joan Koo. She wrote a book called Spellcraft, right? Danielle, correct me if I'm messing it up. And she's a Korean witch, but she's going to be talking about Jupiterian magic. And then we have, don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me. Oh, Dr. Michael Lennox, and he's going to be doing the nose of the moon. So he's coming out from California. Then we have Amy Zerner and Monty Farber. They have so many works, and she's like an amazing tapestry artist. They're going to be talking about we're going to be doing vision boarding.
Oh
So that's the full day. We're so excited about it. But yeah, he's amazing. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
no, that's all right. Because I was gonna say, because he literally wrote the book on the evil eye. I have a chapter on it in Burn a Black Candle, but he wrote the book.
Yes,
So
he did.
but when it comes to blessing things in your house so that they don't break and protecting the health of the family and protecting your car and things like that, that sounds very mundane. And some
Mm-hmm.
people are like, ugh. However, when you start, the wheels of prosperity start turning, sometimes you attract some, let's say, disruptive influences. And the very best thing you can do, my grandma says it's always easy to prevent rather than cure. So you do some basic visualization, some basic blessings on.
Mm-hmm.
It could be everything from your appliances to, like I said, your car, or if you have tools with which you earn money, bless those
Mm-hmm.
tools or representations of those tools to start reinforcing yourself so that when the wheels of prosperity start turning, you retain that money instead of having to pay it out because things break or go haywire or something goes wrong. Um, that is also why there is a spell in the book for protecting the health of everybody in the household, especially all the earners in the household, so that you can continue to bring in wealth and prosperity, even if a little bit of shade or negativity is thrown your way.
Yeah, it's so important, and it's something that you could start to visualize and do. Like you said, you like to do before bed, but I was like, oh, that's so important to do because we we don't think about these things. But I also think it's important to, like you said, have gratitude for those things, like the tools that you use to earn money with or make your living with, or you know, the listen, just the ability to have clean clothes. I always like tell people like you don't realize like how important something is, like plumbing, until you have a plumbing disaster,
Yes, a
right?
thousand percent, because I had one in February.
We, we had one too. We had to replace our boiler, and we have one of them fancy and um I don't
Is it
know,
one of those
like
like the one
fancy
that's
ones.
tankless that just is
Yes,
perpetual heat? I love
yes.
those.
Oh my god, so expensive, and it just like went kaput, and it was like $12,000 to replace. And we're like,
Mm.
good God,
Oh my
good God.
goodness.
I don't know
Yeah,
why
we
we're
had
having like enjoy. Like I love when people like these like people that are leaving the comments like, thank you for boosting the algorithm. It's fine. Um, so we say. So I want to go back to the evil eye because the other earlier, I think it was like this morning, but again, it could have been yesterday because time is strange lately. Um, Somebody posted from my hometown this young girl's 16th birthday. They're leading her outside of her house, and she was blindfolded, and they take the blindfold off, and her parents gave her a brand new white BMW. And I
holy
was like,
crap.
take this off the internet. There was so many hateful comments about like this girl getting
Oil,
this
it doesn't
thing, and I was like,
deserve it.
oh my God. I literally commented get this girl an evil eye stat. And then of course I immediately got all these Jesus messages. It's fine. Which I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But anyway, I was like, Antonio talks so much about that, about like being so careful about what you put in the public because of that jealousy.
It is we're living in a weird time
Mm-hmm.
because I think my ancestors they did not conceive of social media. I'm sure my grandma
Mm-hmm.
would have gotten a kick out of it, but like that it's not something that they thought of. And you have to be mindful about what you put out there.
Yeah.
um and one thing that the car reminds me of um is my mother and my grandmother and the red ribbon. They had this big
Mm,
deal, and the red ribbon was always tied on the rearview mirror of the car. And when I got my first car, which was, it had been my grandfather's and then it was my mother's and then it was mine. I was third generation by
yeah.
the time it got to me. And it had a new red ribbon on it because mom took that red ribbon off that car because that's the one she had had almost all her life, and she tied it
Her
on
car.
her new car.
Right.
So I had a red ribbon, and I'm like, my mom's like, you got to keep the red ribbon on there because it keeps your car, it protects your car and it protects you. And I'm trying to think, and for the longest time, I was like, why are we doing this with the red ribbon? Because I know red, but like, why can't you ever take it off? And I realized it keeps the big item, the car, in a liminal state. If you never fully receive the gift, if you never unwrap the gift, if you never fully receive it, it can't draw the evil eye to you
Is that
because it's never fully
technically right?
received.
You
It's not
haven't received it.
yours.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Isn't that
That's
crazy? And it came to me
amazing.
once, and I was like, I wanted to like run laps around the house. I was so excited. I was like, I finally cracked the code, like the rationale behind it. Because I would ask my grandmother these questions. She'd be like, "Oh, it does some things and it does other things," and be very vague and very blasé about it. And I'm like, I want the reason, Grandma.
Maybe she
But that's not how it
didn't
works.
know. But again, like maybe like you like some of these things you do, you don't know why you're doing the thing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you don't know. So Crystal Writer, you asked why. Why to not talk about things? Because one of the one of the energies that you don't want to invite in your life, and how we're tying it back to wealth and abundance, is the evil eye or people's jealousy. Because people, listen, this isn't even magic, this is psychology, right? People sometimes, instead of doing the things that will lead them to betterment, would rather be jealous of you, because then they're pulling you down to their level instead of them boosting themselves up to get to where you are, because it takes effort to improve yourself.
And another important thing to realize about the evil eye is a lot of time it's not conscious. The person is
Mm.
not intending you harm, but they have these reflexive thoughts. We have these
Yeah.
reflexive thoughts also. And one example, the one my grandma always used to explain it, was that, if someone sees you in a blouse and you look good in the blouse and they walk up to you and go, "You look great in that blouse," but they're really thinking, "I'd look better in that blouse," or,
Right.
"Why can't I find blouses like that?" That's all of that it takes sometimes. They're not consciously projecting negativity towards you, but it's just that little twist of intent, and it builds up, and it can cause things like headaches, stomach upsets,
Mm-hmm.
things breaking. And there's also this type of result that it's called, in Italian, it's called suspension, where suddenly all your meetings get canceled, nothing happens on time, everything gets delayed, the things like that too.
Yeah.
So it has this holistic impact sometimes, and there's many, many different practices that people use to either avoid getting it, which can be carefully policing your speech. Sometimes people
Mm-hmm.
say, "How are you doing?" And you say, "Not bad," instead of saying, "I'm fantastic, let me tell you about the promotion I got, and let me tell you about that $10,000 I won yesterday." Like, no, you just go, "Not bad," and you don't advertise your good,
Right.
you know, all the good. And there's
It's
my
okay.
dog. Yeah. But
You know,
Vinny
wait,
agrees.
your dog's name is
His
Vinny.
name is
That's my
Vinny.
hi Ben. It's so funny. Ben wrote a book on ancestors. It's amazing.
Ooh,
And we were just talking about ancestors, and we were talking about like um it's so funny. Like, did you like feel like a disturbance in the in the force, Ben? Because I was like actually thinking about your book, but I didn't talk about it because people like, if you're adopted, it could be like the ancestors of the people that raised you, but also I was about to be like, or you could pick ancestors. And then I was like,
yes.
let's just keep it to the book. And then here comes Ben. Oh, Vinny. That's so funny. Yeah, no, seriously, like so funny. That the woo woo is woo wooing right now. Um, you know, oh my gosh, I was gonna say something. And then I got like thrown off. Oh, okay. Perimenopause. It's fine. My brain will my
I was wondering if you were that Ben, because I can't
Yay!
see because the screen is far away from me right now.
We need binoculars.
My eyes are so bad.
That's
Hey Ben.
okay. That's okay. I'm still fighting on like not doing readers, and I'm like just like fighting through life. It's okay. It's like not really like necessarily seeing well. It's just like the idea of seeing, and will your brain put it all together? It'll work out eventually. That's okay. Um, oh, I know what I want to talk about. Um, I'm Danielle. What's the book that I'm doing? I for the life of me can't remember the book. And you took the book, Danielle. KDC is my business partner, the co-owner of Amityville
Hey
Apothecary. So that's
Danielle.
who that is. So Danielle, what's that book that I'm doing? The one with the light and the Kabbalah and the tarot. Because so it's like walking the Omer, but through tarot,
Ooh.
and it's between like I think it's like the first day of Passover through Pentecost, but like what the other word for Pentecost is, but because I know it as Pentecost because Catholicism, it's fine. And so you get like a pair of cards and it corresponds to the Kabbalah. And today was literally talking about how we do that with blessings as a way to deflect. And that also is a big part of Judaism as well.
Yes.
So to be like, how are you doing? Or like, oi, don't ask, like, so it's really interesting that you said that. Tarot and the gates of light. Thank you.
Ooh.
It's, uh, write that
Writing
down. I
that down
am
too.
really enjoying it. Really, really enjoying it. Um, it's like a 49 or 50-week exercise, and you could start it at any time, but you could like keep doing it differently. It's really interesting. We brought it into the shop and immediately like sold it out. So we're gonna definitely have to get more. I think it's I think it's wiser. Danny, is it wiser? I think it's wiser. Anyway, I don't know. It's hard to keep track of everybody. Like I know you're published by Watkins, and I think we get Watkins by who? Simon and Schuster. I can't keep everybody
Penguin
together.
Random House is our
Penguin.
distributor. Yeah.
See, I like never know. I can never keep it together.
I'm Mark
Danielle and
Carnes.
I are like,
Don't
who?
know.
Whose book is this?
Well, it's exciting that the esoteric magical publishing world is such a free for all, and there's so many good publishers out there, and there's so many different venues where people can bring their work out
Yeah.
and get their work handled, effectively, and have these beautiful editions come out. And that's very exciting for me. I've been as my other obsession is I collect antiquarian books on metaphysics and the occult.
Oh, cool.
And so the idea that we have all these modern publishers creating
Mm-hmm.
some of these, taking some topics like you didn't used to get these niche topics, that you can
Yeah.
get now, and putting that information out there. That's so exciting,
Oh, it's
for
amazing.
me.
It's amazing. Last week, I think it was last week, Danielle and I went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art with Robert Place.
Ooh,
And they had all the old cards. They had
ooh,
tarot
oh my
cards and they had
gosh.
Lenormands and oracles, and he was talking about it, and like that was unbelievable with like a sheet of tarot cards from like 1450.
That is so cool. That is
What?
so cool.
So interesting if you're ever around. Yep, Danielle just so if you're ever in the city, you can actually write to them, and you need like so like you have to give them 2 weeks notice, but you could get in there and you could view them for
Oh my God.
yourself.
I just cry the entire time. Like,
Well, don't cry on the 1450s cards,
I
okay?
won't. I would stay well back from them, but I would still cry
Yeah.
because
So
then you get down.
so amazing.
My dog's up in my lap. He's back down. He's back up.
That's okay. He just like wants to be a part of everything.
He's excited.
Vinny's famous. Vinny's like, hey, making me some meatballs.
So his full name is Vinegar Tom. He is named after, which is a traditional, which is familiar name from history. But I was trying to debate if I was going to name him that or not, and I think my daughter piped up with, "We could call him Vinny," and I was like, "It's a
It's
done deal.
amazing. I
He's Vinny."
actually adore a dog with a human name. I think it's so funny. My my the gold the English cream, the new guy, the baby, he's only like a year and a half. His name is Jinx, Jinx, which was a curse. We cursed ourselves. I cursed us by naming him that because he is a pain in the ass. But his middle name is Joseph. But Jinx
Oh,
Joseph is his when he's in trouble name.
awesome. We have Vinegar Tom and we have Halloween Jack, named after the character in the David Bowie song. So
Oh,
Halloween Jack is a real cool cat.
yes.
And so we just call him Jack and Vinny though.
I love that. I love that. We need more animals, you guys, and we need to give them human names. That's it. It's been so decided.
My dogs are my familiars. What can I say?
I know mine are too, and they come to the shop and they leave their
Oh,
golden retriever for
dog
everywhere. So
pets are the
they
best.
are. They are the best. But you guys, anybody have any more questions for D? Because I want to be very conscious of everybody's time, although we could probably talk for forever and a
This is
year.
too much fun.
So much fun, so much fun. And of course, we're going to save this to the feed. I'll add you as a collaborator and we do download it and then we push it up to our YouTube as well.
Oh,
So it
cool.
sits over there as well. We do them over here because for whatever reason, like the TikTok lives, like you could save snippets of them, but you can't like save the whole thing on TikTok, which is they need to get with it. Like get with it.
Ooh,
Yes, come visit us. Come to New York or
I'm.
come to Alchemy Academy. Come hang out.
Don't think that I'm not. Brent's upstairs. I think he's
Yeah.
online watching this, and he's probably bracing himself for me, like racing upstairs and being like, "Dude, we got to find a way to get to that
Yeah.
event."
Come hang out. We literally have so much fun every single day. And we really do have like our bookshop is beautiful. Yeah, the digital
There's my
global
partner.
citizen. Yes, there you go. Awesome. Hello. You know what? Like it's a beautiful bookshop. It's so cool. We just got our Aura photography machine in there because we've had it for years and years and we have been like lackadaisical about moving it in there. So definitely just come. It's
Oh,
just so
what
much fun.
fun!
Yes, we have the most fun. And listen, maybe like you guys want to take like a little trip, come to the city, go see the Metropolitan Museum of Art Tarot collection, send it to the write-off department because it's work research.
Heck yeah. You've read my mind. That's very fiscally sound
It
decision to
is,
write it
and
off because it's travel
that's
for work.
manifesting, is it not?
Exactly. Making it happen.
Thank you so much for chatting with us. You guys, once again, Dee is the author of The Golden Grimoire, The Magical Way to Wealth and Abundance. It literally is a true grimoire with sections on, for like I said before, the tarot section, every single card with reversals from the perspective of manifestation, abundance, and wealth is worth the Dina is psychic. I am worth the price of admission, but also like the crystal correspondences, saints, deities, there's spells in here. It really is a complete grimoire of everything wealth, abundance, and prosperity work. So I think we have a few of them. We're probably going to have to do a reorder. And don't worry, we have extra book plates, but we did send all the little sigil ones out into the world. So we're going to have to get Dita
Wow, that's
make more
wild. I'm
sigils.
so excited. I was like, should I put one on each one? And I'm like, no, that's probably overkill. I'll do half and half.
More is more.
But can I just say thank you guys so much? I was
Oh,
so stoked when I first heard from you all. I knew who you were, and I was
oh
like, "Holy moly!" And I love my
yay!
shirt,
Yay!
which I am
So
actually
glad
wearing
you
for
love
the
it.
event, like I
Yay!
said in
Thank
my
you.
my
Oh, I
Instagram
loved that.
post.
It was so great. Thank you so much, Dee. I'm sure this will not be the last time we're talking. Are you working on
I
anything?
I'm working on a book for Llewellyn. It doesn't have a title yet, and it's in the middle of being edited, but it is going to be the working title is The Dabbler's Guide to Grimoire Magic, and it
Okay.
is about going into the old historical texts and not being afraid to get your hands dirty, decode what's in there, and then take that information in your modern practice and do all these crazy modern things with it.
Awesome.
So it's another near and dear to my heart. These amazing companies just keep letting me write about all the things I love best. So that's a manifestation. Let that keep happening too.
And it certainly will. I have no doubt. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us, and we'll definitely be talking soon.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Lovely talking to you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.